Hey everybody, Joe Bianchino here, live from beautiful Saratoga Racecourse. We're on the roof with this weekend's Saratoga weekend preview, Whitney weekend, and I'm joined by HRTV and horse player now, Caton Bredar. Caton, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. This is gorgeous up here.
And it's going to be a gorgeous weekend from what we can tell, and it's going to be a great racing weekend, especially Saturday, and that's the day we'll focus on. It's Whitney Day. That's the feature race, and we'll get to that in a couple minutes, but we want to hit on some of the other Grade 1 races, notably first, the Vanderbilt Grade 1 6 furlong sprint for the men. And for me, the morning line favorite's Bakken. I know it. Chad Brown, Javier Castellano breaking from the 8 post. I don't know if the race is about him, but that's who we've got on top in the morning line.
You know, he finished behind Palace last time, who draws to the inside, he draws to the outside. A rematch between those two is interesting in and of itself, and they're both quality horses that I don't think you can leave out, but it's a real test for Bakken. I thought the horse, who also will get a class test, but has been on a roll, is Happy My Way. To me, he's the speed of the speed, and he has the advantage of drawing outside the only other real, legitimate, fast speed horse in Falling Sky. Falling Sky could be tough in here, and if either of those horses shakes loose, you know, I think they'll be very tough to catch, but to me, this is Happy My Way's day.
Yeah, and I actually agree. I think Happy My Way on the front, I don't see, for a 6 furlong sprint, you're going to expect to see a ton of speed, and I just don't see it. I think Happy My Way can get to the front. He can have his way a bit with that field, and you mentioned Palace, and I'll bring him up just because there's a lot of talk about Palace coming in here. He was a well-beaten second last time out, but he lost to someone who set a track record in his last start. And then, as you said, beat Bakken. I don't know if he was really best that day. I thought Bakken did a lot of heavy work on the front end of a hot pace and did really well to be second in that race. I think it's these three, but I agree with you. I think it's Happy My Way.
He's got to work out a trip, too, from the inside, which I think is going to be a little trickier than it might first appear.
Palace, you mean?
Palace.
Yes.
And that's my knock against him, but very nice horse. And Linda Rice's horses have all been really firing at the meet.
Absolutely.
So, you know, he's going to be bet down, so that's part of it, too.
So we both agreed, maybe Happy My Way's race, but those are the three to watch. And we move on to the test, and this is, I think, some of my favorite races are sprint races, big time graded sprint races, because they're chaotic. You get all sorts of speed at the front, and then that paves the way for closers coming from behind. Absolutely exciting to watch.
And this race historically has had some of the best finishes in recent memory, and I think you're going to see more of the same here with pace, almost the opposite of the Vanderbilt. A lot more speed in here, and with the 7/8 of a mile, I think horses that are going to have a shot to be running at the end. I'm looking at the 1-2 finishers from the Acorn and the 1-2 finishers from the Victory Ride. And though I think that the Sweet Whiskey, Sweet Reward are going to be a little bit more, Sweet Reason, Sweet Whiskey are going to be more heavily bet. Those are the Acorn 1-2 finishers, and really good horses for sure. I think you see moving up in class the 1-2 finishers from the Victory Ride, and in that respect, I kind of really like Street Story, who won over Misbehavior last out. They haven't proven they're quite as good as the other two, but I think they get a really favorable pace scenario, especially Street Story, and I'm really interested in her. I think she's getting good at the right time.
And this is a race that's going to set up huge for closers to me, and I think, and you like Sweet Whiskey. I look at the other one, or I'm sorry, you like Street Story. I look at the other closer here, Sweet Reason. I can't see, honestly, and I know I mean, she's 3-1 in the morning line. She's the favorite, but that's a long favorite for a race like this. I think this is her race. I think this is beautiful for her. I think the turn back, she's run it. Look, she broke her maiden at Saratoga last year in an amazing fashion. Then she comes back and she wins the spin away here at Saratoga last year in amazing fashion. So Leah Giamatti did what you should do with a horse that shows that kind of talent. You try to stretch her out, see if she's got the ability to go long. Didn't fare as well. I think the turn back, she won last time out in the Acorn and the Mile, as you mentioned, and I think, really, 7 furlongs, that's her distance. And she gets it here. She loves Saratoga. She's going to get the pace. She's my horse.
You can make a strong case for her, and she has the style, and she absolutely loves this track, and those are two keys. I guess I like the price a little better on Street Story, but I think
can't argue that.
Those are two key horses for sure.
Yeah, and I think Saratoga patrons, they're knowledgeable. They'll know what Sweet Reason did last year. She's not going to be 3-1 when post time comes. So if you're looking for value elsewhere, I'm just looking for a winner. She's mine. And then, of course, we get to the Whitney.
Right.
$1.5 million, the biggest race this year, purse-wise. at Saratoga, and really, to me, it's probably about one horse, and that's Palace Malice.
Yeah, you know, the old adage, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Probably doesn't apply when it comes here. Palace Malice is the real deal. Last year, some growing pains probably kept him from the winner's circle as far as maturity. He just sometimes had some quirkiness at the gate, didn't get out of the gate well in the Travers. Todd Pletcher looks at it as the one that got away.
Right.
The horse was otherwise brilliant, and now seems to have put all the immaturity issues behind him. He hasn't done anything wrong. The only two things that I'm a little concerned about, and I agree with you completely, he is the horse to beat. He's my top pick. He'll be a single with everybody else.
Absolutely.
But first of all, you rarely see horses at any level rattle off 5 consecutive wins, and that's what he's trying to do, much less at the highest level. The other thing, and it's a pretty special horse that can do that, the other thing is, pace-wise, you have one legitimate speed horse in Marino.
Yep.
Anything happens at the gate to Palace Malice like it did last year in the Travers Stakes, and nobody goes with Marino, this is wide open and a crazy race where havoc is going to reign. So, hopefully he's going to get out of the gate, and I think he's good enough that he can win even if he doesn't break as well. I think he's a better horse than Marino. The only other horse I'd put in the same league is Will Take Charge, and Will Take Charge is going to have to step it up from the rail, work out a great trip, and make everything go perfectly. So it's Palace Malice's race.
Yeah, and for Will Take Charge, I know that Dwayne Lucas said at the post-position chart he doesn't like that Will Take Charge has drawn the 1. I don't see it as a problem. I think he's going to break slower than everybody else. He's going to hang back, and he's going to make his run at the end. The problem for Will Take Charge is, 1, you're right about the pace. It's Moreno, and it's only Moreno, and so I don't know if Will Take Charge is going to have a ton of speed to run into the 1 1/8. I don't know if he's got the time really to unfurl that run. I mean, when he puts it in, he goes, but it takes him a while for me to get into that run. I don't know if he's got that time, and so I'm hesitant for Will Take Charge. I like Moreno because I think he's going to be the lone speed. I think he's going to get the race how he wants it. This is a horse with some guts, and this is a horse. He's tough to put away.
He really is, and I think Romance is probably going to put a little pressure on him. Maybe not in the first quarter mile, but certainly by the half-mile point. And I also think that it's possible that It's My Lucky Day could be a little sharp and could put some pressure on. He has some natural speed. Good horses, good horsemen, good jockeys. None of them are going to try to commit suicide on the front end, and that's going to be key with a lot of decisions made right off the break. But again, it's just kind of one of those where you pause and you wonder about the pace scenario. But then at the end of the day, you have to handicap the horses. And Palace Malice stands out.
He's much the best. Yeah. And really, this is a horse I never bought into really in his 3-year-old campaign. I had my reservations. He's proven me wrong in a huge way, and he's gotten better every single race. I mean, the Travers, he took a bad step out of the gate. He was 4th in that race, probably the best in that race.
If you had seen him at Churchill training up to the Derby and seen how, which we watched him, he was so immature, played so much, just quirky behavior on the track, didn't put everything into it through the Derby, and just the light bulb going on as an older horse for him. He's had the raw talent. I loved him in the Belmont, actually, because I thought distance-wise wasn't going to be a factor like Curlin, and distance isn't a factor, but he's proven this year his versatility, being tactical enough to win at the mile, and that's what you need, a good horse that can kind of overcome just about anything.
And that's the capper for me. More so than anyone else in this field, he's versatile enough as the tractor comes by on the main track. Apologies for that. He's versatile enough that whatever the pace scenario is, he can get into a position that's good for him. And so for me, it's Palace Malice, then it's everybody else. I like Moreno, I like Will Take Charge, but Palace Malice much the best.
I agree. Palace Malice.
All right, this has been your Saratoga Weekend Preview. Caton Bredar, HRTV. Follow her on Twitter @CBredar. Thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you.
I'm at Joe_1045. I'll have your live tweets and live chats all weekend long. And of course, this whole Saratoga coverage has been brought to you by the Factory Outlets of Lake George. Get your back to school shopping done at the Factory Outlets of Lake George, right off exit 20 of the Northway. Visit factoryoutletsoflakegeorge.com. It's Whitney weekend, everybody. Good luck.